and a lot of damage has been carried out to these ISIS terrorists. Vishali, back to you.
Brigadier Khanna, please stay on with me. I'll come back to you. Now, President Trump has announced on Christmas Day that U.S. forces executed military strikes against ISIS terrorists in northwest Nigeria who have been massacring Christians at levels not seen for many years and even centuries. His statement reads, "I've previously warned these terrorists that if they do not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay." And tonight, there was the Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes, as only the United States is capable of doing. Under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorism to prosper. May God bless our military, and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if their slaughter of Christians continues. I'm going back to Brigadier Sanjay Khanna. Now, Brigadier Khanna, my question really to you is that Trump, of course, is the first to claim a lot of credit for many things. Like even in India, he was claiming credit for Operation Sindoor. Now, whatever these strikes are, do you feel that this is a rather strong stance by Trump?
Vishali, you're absolutely correct in your assessment to say that it is everywhere. Trump keeps claiming he's done this, he's done that, because that's his nature. He wants the world to feel that he's the savior, of the world against the terrorism, this scourge of terrorism. So in that context, he keeps mentioning. But if you see, the Americans have hardly retaliated anywhere except now that we hear what has happened in Nigeria. Because for what happened, if you remember, with the Twin Tower strikes of the terrorists in US itself and other places where US high commissions or consulates have been targeted. So because of that, the Americans do not want such activities happening to them, because it causes a negative impact on the security apparatus of the Americans themselves. So it's after quite some time that the Americans have carried out airstrikes and other strikes in Nigeria targeting the ISIS camps. And that is why President Trump has made a big and bold statement, as he always does, for everything and anything, and tried to claim, that's his victory over the terrorist camps in Nigeria, which is not so. Because see, the terrorists do not stay in one place. Like I was mentioning before, they shift their base. They always have temporary base. They are in dense jungles. They don't operate in the open areas or from the cities and towns, because there they can be easily located. Nor can they carry out their training in built-up areas. So that is why they always locate themselves in very remote areas. It could be mountains, it could be jungles. In the incident case, it is the ISIS and Boko Haram. They are getting trained in these dense jungles where it is very difficult to kind of get after them. But like I said, it is the American surveillance system, that is those satellite imagery, and then what is provided in the inputs provided on ground. That is why President Trump said that they could carry out precision strike. Now the Americans have the presence in quite a few countries, though not directly in Africa, but they do have, and they keep monitoring. When they feel that there is something which is emanating against the American state, that is the time that they carry out these activities. Otherwise, in most of Africa, if you see, like I was mentioning, there are lots of terrorist organizations in various countries. Because of that, the Russians also have presence there. The European Union countries also have presence to help the local governments carry out these anti-terrorist strikes, as well as training the local troops, the soldiers, for such like activities. Yeah, Vishali.
Brigadier Khanna, stay on with me. I also have now Professor Emmanuel Remy, Professor of Political Institutions, Governance and Public Policy. He's joining me live from Nigeria. Professor Emmanuel, welcome to the broadcast, and I want to begin by asking you. Now, the United States has, of course, carried out airstrikes against Islamic State terrorists in Nigeria. How do you see this, and how do the people in Nigeria see this?
Well, I think that it's a surprise attack because uh, when Trump made the announcement that he was going to intervene in Nigeria, we were expecting that it is just one of those Trump talks, and the what was welcome was the fact that for once it seems that the Christians in the northern part of Nigeria were enjoying international support because of the suffering they have gone through as a result of the various terrorist attacks in their churches and in their communities. But that Trump was going to strike, both Nigerians prefer if Nigeria dealt with its own problem internally rather than seeking the intervention of the United States concerning the security situation. There was a major attack on a mosque on the eve of Christmas, that was yesterday night, which was carried widely in the Nigerian media. We're still awaiting the government reaction or response when the news came that Trump announced that the Americans have conducted airstrikes in the terrorist camps in Nigeria. So I think by tomorrow morning, we'll see what the media reaction will look like to this, because it's already very early in the day. So the newspapers will carry reports about the outcome during the day today.
All right, Professor Emmanuel, stay on with me. I also have Purnima Nath. She's a Republican leader who's also joining me. Now, Ms. Nath, my question to you is, how do you really see these strikes that the U.S. has conducted in Nigeria?
Well, I think that... Okay.
Professor Emmanuel, we're currently speaking with Ms. Purnima Nath. Purnima, I'd request you to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Please go
Very
on.
well. Thank you so much for having me, Jayant. First of all, if you remember, President Trump claimed to have literally decimated ISIS in his first term, which is obviously much more bragged as we know about it. It was never decimated, it's still there. And latest news from ex-terrorist in the White House has been quite interesting visit from Al-Jolani, Syrian installed prime minister or president, I should say. And then let's talk about Nigeria. Yes, are they targeting Christians? Of course, yes. And as a human being, do we support these kind of killings? No, of course not. I'm not part of support a group of terrorism, any kind of terrorism. But in this particular case, I think what is happening is recently Nigeria was redesignated as a country of particular concern. And let me tell you about this USCIRF and their agenda. And they have been trying to make sure India is also designated as a country of particular concern. If you remember, for quite some time, the Christian groups and the Muslim groups of India has been targeting American institutions and making sure that India is designated as a CPC. Now, America can literally go and bomb and target and do a military action on any country, justifying slaughter and targeting innocent people, and that's not something that I think is the right direction for the country like America. And if you see President Trump's communication, it's absolutely I don't even know how to describe it in a mild manner. It's a constant way of boasting and his posture of supremacy as a commander of chief. I'm making a decision, go and literally seize the oil tanker from Venezuela, target Nigeria, and tell South Africa is the next country to be targeted. All kinds of things that we are seeing at this point of time is not conducive for a peaceful world. And I think Donald Trump is actually causing more damage at this point of time than he's trying to bring peace. This is a farce.
All right, Purnima, please stay on with me. I'll come back to you. Now, meanwhile, the Nigerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs has just released an official statement backing the Christmas Day strikes. Nigerian authorities remain engaged in structured security cooperation with international partners, including the United States of America, in addressing the persistent threat of terrorism and violent extremism. This has led to precision hits on terrorist targets in Nigeria by air